Welcome to the Reseller Niche Podcast, a show for e-commerce buyers and sellers where we investigate unique categories of items being bought and sold and show how research equals knowledge equals profit. And now your hosts, Russ and Mo.
Howdy, Russ. How's it going in Florida?
Mo, it is going awesome in Florida. How are things out in California?
Nice and warm still, thankfully. Allergies are a little much, but nice and warm.
Good deal, good deal. This episode, what we'd like to do is just kind of talk about the guests we've already had on, some of the things we've learned from them, and then also a little bit later, me and Mo are going to talk about some of our reselling experience, some of the things we really like and the things that excite us. So, Mo, we've had some really informative and smart guests on, haven't we?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I've learned a lot.
It is amazing how much I've learned just from talking to the few people that we have. I think we've had, 5-6 guests on?
Yeah. And every single one of them had unique perspectives on different stuff. So, yeah.
You know, when I think of like those, and I saw you posted a video recently of some of those the G.I. Joes, was it that you posted? Or
Yeah. I was trying to look up some of the stuff that Clara was talking about there, and then I picked up a few at the Savers there. So, yeah.
That is a huge potential area somebody could go into, isn't it? I mean, it just goes on and on.
I mean, when I was looking into it a little bit, I saw that it's like when people – I mean, there's multiple names for it. Like if you said G.I. Joe, maybe somebody's talking about like a 4-inch figure. In that case, they're like the 12-inch figures, and I guess that's what they mean by 1/6. So, but I mean, you could be talking about Barbie dolls, G.I. Joes, your customizable ones that don't even have a name, or these ones out of Hong Kong. So, I mean,
Clara was talking about those ones that were customized or form made.
Yep.
You know, where they go for thousands of dollars. That was extremely interesting. And each guest that we brought on, we start realizing how big some of these areas are.
Huge.
Just like Terry Huffman with the tools.
Oh, yeah. I did start doing a little research on YouTube and on eBay about some of the snap-on tools he was talking about. Some of the prices are ridiculous. I mean, if you get brand new tools, full everything with the casing and everything, it can be super expensive.
Yeah, I've seen him drop some big money on tools.
Yeah, I believe it.
And he's turned around and made it back, of course.
Oh yeah.
I know some, and this we didn't talk too much about in that episode about like machinists.
Oh yeah.
They'll have $30,000-$40,000 wrapped up in their toolbox. Easy.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know too. I'm kind of a newbie in that area. But I remember one of my earliest jobs was I did security at, what was it called before? The Tesla plant took over. It's called NUMMI. It was the Toyota plants.
Gotcha.
So, yeah, some of these tools, you saw the guys going in, going out, and then I met a few of the guys that were machinists there. They really knew their stuff, and they had all kinds of different stuff.
And you're right, that Snap-on area. So, you know, we tell, hopefully if you're listening, you know, always watch out for those Snap-on tools.
Yes.
That kind of stuff. And even just working with our good friend Chris and talking about starting out with cars.
Yeah, I'm sure we barely touched the subject because we kind of talked about one side of it. We should probably have him on to talk about the other. I mean, we didn't touch on, people buying cars just for like Uber and Lyft, and
right.
There's all kinds of other services out there too, not just buying them to resell immediately. You can lease them, you can do all kinds of stuff. So
yeah, what was that one service? Wasn't there it was like a college town service where you can rent you become a car rental?
I know what you're talking about. I'm trying to think of the name. It's on the tip of my tongue, but yeah, basically you park. There's like 6 spots.
Yeah.
And you just kind of go, you pick it up, you drive it to the next location that has that same spot, and you drop it off.
That's interesting.
That's really neat.
And when you think of cars and everything that goes through and just buying your own car.
Yes.
We could talk hours about how to buy that, but I really liked his point, how he talked about, just start out with the commuter cars. That's what everybody's looking for.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, get the most common, most frequently used cars, and then people are going to want to buy them.
Isn't that kind of pretty much a lot about the basic line of everything? You think of clothes and just get your average clothes. That's what sells a lot. Get your blue
jeans, your vanilla ice cream kind of.
Yeah, vanilla, the unit, what I use in Unitarian type area where everybody uses it. It's true, just a basic commuter car. Chris.
Yeah, I mean, everyone loves regular potato chips. I mean,
yeah. And then we had Dan Moore on with the VCRs. What an interesting, and I've sold VCRs, and he taught me a lot just from our small conversation or short conversation.
Yeah, I mean, VCRs, and I think we're kind of on the edge of, because he was talking about how some of there's very few makers of VCRs now.
Right.
Even the DVD VCR combos, and then, I mean, we didn't even talk about, what's the future for that, because I mean, is it gonna turn into kind of like an 8-track where it's kind of dies out? I don't think so, because I don't think many people had 8-track tapes, but a lot of people have VHS tapes.
Yeah, that's a great point, because it does amaze me, and I think it's a nostalgia thing too.
Yes.
My kids grew up listening or watching the Disney clamshells.
Yeah.
So it's just huge nostalgia, and I've moved on. I do all mine on string because I try to go minimalist as possible. But
yeah,
man, I'll sell a VCR because I think they're cool, and especially those combos.
Oh yeah, it's funny. VHS has not gone away in terms of people having them. Like my kids, they're in daycare, and then you walk into daycares. A lot of times they don't have DVD players. They have VHS. They have a big wall of those big cabinets full of VHS tapes. Every Disney thing, And
that was the first quick and usable home movies and affordable home movies was on VHS. We all had those camcorders.
Oh yeah.
And that's something we didn't talk about on that show, is the camcorder side of it. Because that's a sellable item. I know there's some of those mini camcorders can really go for good money.
Oh yeah. I mean, when you say camcorder, in my mind, I always think Back to the Future. He's got that camcorder. He's got
where you pop the VHS in it.
Yep.
That was revolutionary at the time. You could just take it out and put it right into the VCR and watch it.
Oh yeah.
But I love Dan's idea on taking the VCR and making sure you have the remote for it and put the cables together for it. Make that bundle, and that'll kind of make you stand out a little bit.
I mean, you're making it easier for the buyer too. I mean, I guess there's nothing worse than getting ready. You got your box, maybe 5 PM, and it's missing the cable. It's missing the remote.
And the cables, you've had that cable for 10 years. It's time to replace it anyway.
Exactly.
And that's an upsell. Where if you have it on your bundle, the guy may go, it's time to replace my cable. So I want fries with that.
Oh yeah. Yeah, definitely.
So it's just those things that we've learned from our guest, and just a short amount of time has really made me excited.
Yeah. I mean, there's so much more, and we could bring all of these guests back to talk about other facets of what they talked about. I mean, it's just the beginning. So I mean,
scratching the surface, aren't we?
Yeah.
This could be so. So let's talk about some of our past and stuff. Like, what's some of your favorite things to do on eBay?
On eBay, personally, I mean, when I started, I want to say my second start with eBay, I should say, it was more to do with toys, vintage toys, action figures. Not so much the 1/6 stuff like Clara was talking about, but like Star Wars, He-Man, Thundercats, very mid-'80s vintage toys.
Nostalgia. That's the stuff.
Yeah.
That's the stuff you grew up with.
Exactly. I mean, the stuff I was getting when I was in elementary school. I think that we all kind of crave that a little bit. But I really wish I could do that all the time. The supply of stuff like that is not really there right now. I mean, you can still get all of these toys. The prices are kind of ridiculously expensive now, though. Gotcha. But no, I mean, if I had my choice, it would be 80s toys.
Now, let me ask you.
Yes.
How hard is it to get a toy like that and go, oh man, I know this is worth X amount on eBay, but it sure looks good up on the shelf?
I have two toys like that, actually. Because I remember when I first started selling action figures, I sold a big lot. It was probably like, I don't know, 30 to 50 action figures. And at the last second, I pulled two out. I mean, it was half sentimental because those two were actually mine, not just bought to resell. And I just said, no, I can't sell these.
They were your items.
Yeah, it was He-Man and Skeletor. I still have them.
Oh, cool. I remember that's good toys.
Yeah. I mean, those things are solid. I mean, 30 years old and they're still going. But I mean, what about you? What kind of, I guess, if you had to pick one thing to sell on eBay, what would it be?
I tell you, I thought about this, and it's again a nostalgia thing. But for me, it's those reel-to-reel music tapes, music systems. I love those, and I just they're big and they're bulky and they're you really got to know what you're doing, shipping them, buying them, the whole 9 yards. About some I found one model in the bins and paid 18 cents for it, and sold for $350, $400 with shipping.
Nice.
I mean, what a great return, right?
That's huge.
That's huge. And yet another one, like I picked up two recently here in Florida, and they were different. They were kind of a different brand, but they took some time to sell. And I spent $50 getting both of them, and then I think I netted total sales around $220 for both of them. So still
huge profits, yeah.
Good profit, and it was neat testing them. And I say it's a nostalgia item because I grew up. My father had I don't even know the name of the system. I wish I had it, but he had a big, huge console system that he brought back from Japan. He was military, and when he was over there, he bought this system. Okay. So my youth or childhood and youth was, if we had a party, the music was being played on the reel-to-reel tapes. All the music that he listened to, I listened to, of course, and so I know a lot of the older music. And it was that reel-to-reel tape.
Nice.
And that's nostalgia, and I just really enjoy working with them. Again, same way with the toys, the sourcing is the one thing. And some of these things that I see can go. There's literally some of those units that are $2,000 and $3,000.
Yeah, I believe it. Yeah. I mean, you can't find them. I mean, so finding them, that's step one.
I'd love to do some repair. Now, I know enough in a movie projector. I like to also deal with some of the older movie projectors. Those are pretty simple built systems. But if you've ever opened up one of those reel-to-reels, the complexity of the switching systems on there, it is it's like a typewriter inside there.
And it's something that I'm guessing they don't really do the same way anymore.
No, it's all driven by chips and diodes.
Yeah.
Or actuator, but not actuator, but the systems that I've busted into, the actuators. Now there's the what's the one guy, Golden Finger Picker. He's got some great videos about busting into them, and he'll fix them. And of course, if you fix something like that, if you're really into them, and as I'm getting older, I don't have the patience to fix stuff like that. But
man. So I guess, we're talking about nostalgia here. So if I was to say, something within the last 6 months to a year, could you tell me something that was a real good find, or something that you kind of were real proud of finding?
I went to the grocery store just about a week or so ago. Sunday afternoon, popped in. I think we needed normal bread milk. We got a grocery store about 2 miles or 2 blocks down the street. And I look, and they had Cadbury eggs.
Oh, yeah.
And they were selling them for 10 cents a piece. And I said, so I grabbed my phone and I looked, and I figured I could do pretty good on these, right? So I bought a box of them. A box of them was $12. There were 48 of them in a box.
Okay.
They were a quarter a piece. I'm sorry. So 4 for $1 is what they had listed. So it was It was $12. I came home and listed them on eBay.
Okay.
And sold them for 46 with shipping, just to do a quick get them out and move. And that one sold, and I went, they had another box down there. So I ran down, I was like, I'm going to get that other box. So I ran down, got that other box, came home, and put that on, just did a relist, sell similar. And within an hour, it sold. So,
oh, wow.
Yeah, that was kind of a neat little, I haven't done much grocery items on eBay, but, and it was pushing the limits. It's starting to get pretty warm down here, so it was pushing the limits on chocolate.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people don't like to ship chocolate in the summertime.
Oh, yeah.
It could melt. So we ice packed it up, and we did ship it out. Of course, we priority mailed it. And it was a good little flip. It was like,
nice.
I spent $24 and got about almost 100 in sales plus shipping. So,
what I like about that story is that you started it with, I went to the grocery store for 2 seconds. I'm like, wait, we're talking about something else here. But then, you found it at an unorthodox place.
Yeah, you wouldn't think. That's a real good point. You wouldn't think, sourcing in a grocery store.
No,
but. I know some Amazon guys that's all they do.
Yeah. I mean, it's ridiculous numbers. Yeah.
And ridiculous. 150,000 a month.
Yeah.
And so, and even more. I think the one guy's up that we know, so I think he's up around 300,000.
Yeah.
So, so there's just, it's a utilitarian thing again. So everybody uses it.
Oh, yeah.
So what about you? What in the last 6 months, what's kind of been your favorite?
This one, I mean, when you said that, I mean, one sticks out. This was probably about a year ago, actually. It was from a thrift store, so it's not as cool of a story as yours. But what they were all the way on the side. There was probably about 150 of these 5 1/4-inch discs. You remember those floppy disks?
Oh, man, did I use those in my career.
Yes, 5 1/4. So I don't know if anyone out there can remember that. That's pre 3.5-inch, pre CD.
That was
probably talking about 1990.
80s and 90s.
Yeah,
early 90s.
80s to early 90s, maybe. Right. And then, so they had these in the corner. I just saw a stack of them. I mean, it's like 6 foot tall, it looked like, because they made a giant pile. And I said, let's take a look at these. So I scanned them, and this is for Amazon. And they were ranked really high, but there were no sellers. So there was no price on them.
Gotcha.
So I said, all right. And then I looked at them, and they priced them for 99 cents. So I'm guessing that nobody wanted them, obviously, because, how are you going to use them? But they were sealed.
They were in the 10-pack sealed or the 5-pack?
Yeah, they were 10 packs.
10 packs.
Boxes of 10 packs, sealed.
With the cardboard box still around it?
Yes, with the cardboard sealed.
Oh.
So I'm like, all right, let me get a cart here, because I'm looking around. And I thought, everyone's looking at me. Everyone's trying to grab these. I look around, nobody, people are walking right by them.
So that was 99 cents.
99 cents a piece.
For 10.
Yeah, for 10, for a box of 10. But on top of that, I have coupons. So I was able to take off about 15% per. So I get them for about 85 cents a piece. And I said, I'm just going to take all of them, which I did. I took them all, and then I was able to list them for about $20 a piece. So
nice.
It took a while to sell, but they all went. 100% of them went. And I didn't get any returns, which is weird. But
those were workhorses back then. Those didn't fail.
No. I mean, I remember getting those when I was a kid. It was I didn't have a video game system, but I remember Dad got me it had the games. He had handwritten the games on the title,
right
on the top of the floppy disk. So I'm like, those bring back memories. I mean,
I used I'm so familiar with those because every time I did system backups on IBM stuff, that's what we use those.
Yeah, I can't even remember how big. What's the storage in that? 1 megabyte or less than half a
Oh,
megabyte?
no, if that. It was, no, we're not talking
256 or something.
Most of them were like 256, maybe 512. I think double-sided 512 at one time.
Yeah.
It's a big, so yeah. See, it's stuff like that. Now, how many boxes did you end up?
It was just shy of 150, I believe, because I think there were about 160 of them, but I had to pull about 12 because I started to see some of the wrapping because they'd piled it up so high. The ones in the bottom started to wilt. But so I pulled about 12. I think it was 148 or 149.
Discs, not boxes.
Boxes of discs.
140 boxes.
140 boxes.
Whoa.
And it was just sitting there, and then you couldn't miss this because it's about 6 foot tall. Plus, they didn't have it on the ground; they had it on top of a cabinet, so it's already starting at 3 feet high and piled up.
Right. That's awesome. That's a huge pick, and you get the whole box for less than $1 and selling it for $20.
And they looked at me like I was crazy. Like I remember there was not many people in the store. And then there was like one checker, and then somebody else came over. They're like, "Wait, what are those? I mean, what do you use those for?" I'm like, at first I was thinking about saying, "Well, I'm going to use them for." I'm like, "No, that's not." I said, "I'm just going to sell them." I just put it out there. I'm like, "No, I'm not going to make up a story here. I mean, these discs are from 1984. What am I going to say?"
At times you got to just come up and go, "I know a guy."
Yeah.
You knew a guy called what's his name? Yeah, a buddy of mine, Jeff Bezos. He sells these. Or you can use them. So
I got him on speed dial. So
but and you think about, like, I always think of this on that. Who gave those up? So that was somebody that had some in storage. It was obviously a data business. And of course
they were mints. So
yeah. So they had them in storage. We got to have them. And then your buyers, like, who bought those? There's
a lot of different people because I didn't see anyone buying more than a couple. Maybe 5 was the most that somebody bought. Most of it was 1, 1, 1, 1, and then over 100.
And
so I mean,
so that leads, and that was a year ago.
Yes.
So there's another opportunity for a niche that we. The vintage
media, I guess. Yeah.
Vintage computerware, because people love that. I found a bunch of mini disc and some Apple stuff. From the 80s, and man, it went quick.
Oh yeah, so the mini discs.
Yeah. And just a huge market for that vintage software, vintage media. And,
I mean, I've never sold mini discs, but I have sold quite a few zip discs. If you remember those.
Oh yeah.
Those things can go for ridiculous, especially if they're sealed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And what I sell, talking about what Dan Moore about VCRs, I never pass up sealed VHS tapes.
Never. No.
Because they'll sell.
Yep.
They may sit. I try to bundle them up, but they sell because, again, they're not making that stuff. And that was one of those things. Who knows? You always think about, like, potentials. Like, you had them at $20. And I'm sure at one point you went, I need to jack this price up.
Well, it's funny you say that because I initially typed in $9.99 and then one sold. And I'm like, I'm the only guy selling this.
Right.
Let's see what $19.99 does. And then for a week, nothing sold. And I was thinking about, oh, no. And then a week later, somebody bought one. So I'm like, all right, I'm just going to leave it.
Did you have them in FBA or were you
FBA? 100 in FBA. I mean, in hindsight, I probably should have said in half and then half later because they sold, but they sold kind of at a steady rate.
Right.
But that was kind of when I was starting FBA. So I just kind of sent in everything.
Right.
But, I mean, they all sold, and it was probably the most I've ever bought of one thing, especially from a thrift store.
Wow. That's something that we hope that our listeners get is the opportunities. And in that opportunity, our tagline or our belief is always research equals knowledge equals profit. you had the knowledge, you knew what those discs were.
Oh yeah.
So you knew, and they equaled that profit. Somebody out there walking by and look, research this stuff.
Yeah.
And get the knowledge, and you'll make the profit. And
definitely,
that's the beauty of today. Is in your hand, you have a computer that 10 years ago we didn't have.
Oh yeah, in your pocket.
In your pocket, yeah.
Yeah.
And so, it just research it on the spot, and that's what a lot of people are doing this day. And we always suggest that. So, well, Mo, I tell you, I am so excited for the Resellers Niche Podcast. I think it's going to really help a lot of people.
Oh yeah,
and it's going to grow, and if it helps me and you too. I know that for a fact.
Oh yeah, I mean, I've already learned so much. I can't wait to see and talk to the new people that we're going to have up coming up, and find out some new stuff.
We've got some really nice guests, and we're actually and if you would like to be on our show, please reach out to me and Mo. If you have a niche that you'd like to share, we're always open for more guests. Not only if you don't even have to be a reseller, we're also looking, and we're going to speak to some buyers.
Yeah. We're looking for the knowledge.
Yeah,
I mean, it doesn't matter if you're a buyer, a seller, worked in the industry, any of that.
Yeah. I think we talked about, wouldn't it be great to get somebody that's actually worked in one of the shoe manufacturers, corporate or something like that? That'd be a great boon for the knowledge part of it. So good. Well, Mo, I sure have enjoyed it. I've enjoyed getting with you on these times, and I just hope that we continue to learn and learn.
Yeah. I want to thank you guys for listening. And like Russ said, reach out to us. We've got a Facebook group. It's in the show notes down there. You can also get us on Gmail, Reseller Niche Help at gmail.com. Either way, just reach out. And if you want to listen, if you want to learn, if you want to be on the show, any of those. And we'll talk to you guys next time.
Thank you for listening to the Reseller Niche Podcast. Show notes and social media links are located at resellerniche.com. Please like and subscribe to us on iTunes.